Good morning. Hey there. Sorry, I was trying to get set up and I was running short on time. But welcome. And thank you for joining me today for the Daycare Q&A Show. My name is Adrienne Bradley. And thank you for joining me here today. Let's see. And if you're just joining me for the first time, welcome. And if you are coming back, welcome back. And if you are joining me live here today, can you do me a favor? Just give me some hearts and likes, and just so I can see you and say hi. I've been saying this for a little while, but the dashboard here is a little bit not user friendly. So I can't always see the comments, and so I have my laptop open next to me, so hopefully I can catch any comments that I'm not able to see on the main dashboard. But if you send me some hearts and likes, then maybe it'll pop up on the screen and help me out. Okay? So yeah, and if you are catching this on replay, send me a hello in the comments so I can say hi to you too, and consider subscribing. That would help us out a lot. We're growing our YouTube channel, and that's where these shows live after they air live on the first day. Then the next day they are on our channel, so you can always catch up over there on past episodes. And just in case you're busy and you can't catch me live. So yeah, so let me just make sure I've got this up and open. Okay, let's see, I'm looking at my notes. All right, so housekeeping notes. I usually lately have been able to get my dogs outside, but like I said, I was running short on time, so they are walking around. They might bark. They might distract me. Hopefully not. But if you hear the jingling or if you hear a bark, I just want you to know that's why. All right. Secondly, I do start off every show by giving a bit of a disclaimer and saying that the show, the questions that I address here, or the issues that are brought up, are from my own experience. They are my take on maybe a certain circumstance that either I've gone through. I draw from my 20 years of being a child care provider myself, or someone very close to me, a close colleague that has gone through something similar. And but they are my opinions, and they certainly don't work for everyone. They don't work for everyone's business. And so I invite you to take what works and leave the rest. It's probably for somebody else. I'm just here to give you maybe a different perspective, or to have you maybe think about something about your business that you might have to deal with, and it might give you hopefully an unbiased perspective, so that if you're in that situation, you maybe have some thoughts about it that you're not caught off guard, is what I'm trying to say. So, but again, use what works, leave the rest. I haven't said this in a while, but my whole reason for the show is to give solutions, because I love a rant, but a solution trumps a rant to me. Sometimes you just need to talk. You just need to talk and get it out, and I get that. But a lot of times we would love maybe some constructive input, and that's what we're trying to do here. So there's that. Oh, and if you are joining me live, or even if you're catching this on replay, and if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the chat, put it in the comments. And we have a few questions here today, so I will try and get to them during the show. But if I don't, I'll come back after the show and answer your question. So yeah, just go ahead and put it in the comments or in the chat. Okay. Let's see. And earlier in the month, we were giving away the provider planner, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But We have a giveaway every week, and this week we are giving away the holiday planner, and everyone can get this. So there'll be a link in the comments for this show, in the show notes, where you can go over and get your copy of the holiday provider planner, so that you can, we're in the holidays now. There's no leading up anymore. We are there, and we have days until the end of the year. So go over and download that planner, and let it help you kind of, organize the chaos that the holidays can bring. Okay, so that link will be in the notes after the show, in the show notes. All right, let's see what's going on in the Thriving Childcare universe. First, today, our show is sponsored by I'm trying to point in the right direction, by the Provider Planner and Organizer. That is our luxury planner just for childcare providers, and you can see the stripe version that I'm pointing to behind me. And I've been saying this for a while. I will say it again today. It is the perfect time to order your planner. If you order it now, you can actually get it before the holidays officially start. No, that's not true, because Thanksgiving has already passed. But you can get it pretty fast, and you will be able to use that through the holidays and to plan before the new year. Get your plans for 2024 down in your planner, so that you know what goals you want to accomplish and what you're trying to do for your business and in your personal life in 2024. So there's already a link to the planner where you can go over and check it out. But yeah, now is a great time to order it. And it's not just a great time to order it. It's a great time to order it because the post office hasn't gotten crazy yet. You know that can happen. So if you order it now, hopefully you won't get in that holiday crunch with the mail, and you will get your planner long before the beginning of the year. So go ahead and check that out. The link is in the show notes already. Okay. All right. And this week on the blog, I wrote about something that a lot of us deal with, and it's the family hookup. So if you don't know what I mean, the name of the post is Navigating Boundaries When Family and Friends Expect Free Childcare. So there's a link in the show notes already for you to go over and check out the post, but I know a lot of us have dealt with that. I dealt with it, and it was what I decided to do for my business, and I did not open up my services to friends and family, or family and friends, and it was to obviously avoid all of the confusion, all of the hookup issues that come with that. I won't say that I didn't help out a family member or friend in a crunch for a short period of time, but as far as a long-term enrollment status in my program, I did not do that in my program. But in the post, I go over some things to think about. If you haven't had that issue come up in your business yet, go over and read the post, and just kind of give yourself time to think about how you would approach that, so that if you ever do find yourself in that situation, and a lot of us do, you can maybe have a well thought out response or approach to dealing with something like that. So yeah, go over and check out the post. It's a quick read. But I know a lot of us deal with that, and it was something I hadn't covered before, and I was asked to do an input in an article in another publication, and it was about this, and I thought, wow, this is a really good thing to bring up, because I know so many of us find ourselves in that situation. And I don't know about you, but when I'm caught off guard, I tend to either respond with something that I really don't want to do, or yeah, that's what it usually is. So I find for myself, if I've thought about it, if I've heard someone else talk about it, then at least I have a better response for what I actually want to do in that situation. So I invite you to go over and check out the post. It is our post for the week, okay? And the link is in the show notes already. All right. Okay. So this morning we're going to dive into some questions that were submitted by daycare owners. But before we do that, I've been going to the planner and looking at days that are coming up either this week or early next week to see if there's any fun observances that you can maybe build an event or a project or your curriculum around, maybe shake it up. We're getting into the holidays, so maybe you're running out of ideas and this can help you. Okay, so did you know that on December 1st it is Eat a Red Apple Day? So that's pretty easy, right? That's kind of fun. You can either have apples for breakfast or snack or in the lunch or something like that, and you can talk about Eat a Red Apple Day. Maybe you want to look up what kind of vitamins are in the apples and talk to the children about the nutritional value of eating the apple. Maybe you want to create a little dip for them and give it a whole new, serve it up in a whole new way. But yeah, it's Eat a Red Apple Day on December 1st, and that is on Friday. So maybe think about what you can do to celebrate Eat a Red Apple Day. Now, on December 1st, also, it is Santa's List Day. Okay, so you can have so much fun with this. And I'll leave another link where you can go over and download a letter to Santa that the kids you can use it, make it a project for them to write their list to Santa. If you do that, if it's something you do in your business or in your childcare business. But that might be fun for them to make a list of the things that they want for Christmas. Or maybe you can do something fun and have them make a list for someone else. Maybe engender some kind of, charitable act. Yesterday was, I think it was National Giving Day. I think that's what they called it. I think I'll find out the actual name. But that was yesterday, and maybe in the spirit of that, have them think about something that they could give to someone else. So those are the 2 days that are coming up this week. Next week on the 6th is Put on Your Own Shoes Day on the 6th of December. So maybe you can have the children that are in that phase practice putting on their shoes. Maybe you can have a whole session where the kids who already know how to do that can maybe help the little ones that are just learning how to do that. But yeah, that might be a fun activity for that day too. Okay. So I just want to check the comments here and see. Hi, Deborah Hurley. And Brittany. Hi, Brittany. Brittany said, I love the dip idea. Yeah, there's, I can't think of the specific, I think there's like this yogurt, and it's probably just yogurt. Maybe it's strawberry yogurt or something like that. But I've seen dips that they make for like the fruits and maybe make up something like that. That kids love to dip, so that would be great. And Deborah, I agree. Just because I'm a provider, people always ask us to watch their kids because we are family. You know what? Even more than that, right? I would go to family events and they always hand me their children. And I try to be polite, but my husband will come over and say to them, it's her off day, guys, okay? And I will politely hand them back their child. But, and it's not that I don't love them. It's not that I don't love their child. But they seem to think that we have to have children around us all the time to make us whole, make us happy. And while I love taking care of children, love being around them, talking to them, it we need some time without the children, right? We need some time to recoup and have some self time, right? Let's see. My husband says this, Deborah says, my husband says the same thing. Yeah. He bails me out. I'm glad your husband bails you out too, because I said to one family member, I was joking, okay? But I said, they said, oh, and this was an extended family. And when they found out that I was a childcare provider, they went, oh, they literally pulled up a chair and said, I have some questions to ask you. Apparently he was a new father. And I was like, okay, where do I send my invoice? I was joking, but he kind of got the message, and he didn't like spend a whole lot of time asking me a bunch of questions, but I answered whatever questions he had. But yeah. Okay, so let's get into some questions here, and I want you guys to chime in and let me know what your thoughts are if I forget to ask you your take on something. But yeah, okay, so the first question is, and this is my question to you. I've been putting a question out, my own question to you every week, and this one I have been waiting to ask you, and now that we're in the holiday season, I think it's a perfect time. What do you, or how do you feel about the elf on the shelf? My friend had to point this out to me, but apparently there's this controversy on the internets, basically in the Facebook groups, about the elf on the shelf. Okay? Now, I'm not gonna necessarily, well, I could say what I think about it, but what do you think about it? Is it okay, so the whole thing is, what's being said is that it's not, okay. The elf on the shelf, I never even used that with my own children or in the daycare. I don't believe I ever did that. Just because it was an oversight. I didn't really think about the elf on the shelf, and I don't know if I even knew about, I don't know, whatever. But he sits on the shelf, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he sits on the shelf, and he's supposed to report back to Santa any shenanigans or any of the bad kids, bad behavior, whatever. And so the scuttlebutt is that it's unfair for the children to feel like they're being judged and watched all the time, and that can be damaging to them. And yeah, so I would love to know what you think about the elf on the shelf. Is it something you do in your childcare? Do you feel passionate about it one way or the other, or you think this is a big to do about nothing? I would love to know what your opinion is. So please put it in the chat. Deborah says the kids love it though, and it's like, yeah. I mean, you know what? Okay, I'll just give you a little bit of my opinion. I won't go on a rant, but the whole concept of what I just explained is the issue. The same thing can be said about Santa Claus, right? What's the first thing he says to you? Says to the child, have you been a good boy or girl this year? How's that different? I mean, if they say no, and what child is going to say no? If they say no, first of all, I wonder what Santa would say if they said no, I haven't. If they were truthful and said no, I haven't. But anyway, that's a little bit of how I feel about it. But I want to know what you think. Yeah. Deborah says, once you do it, you're tied to it for a long time. Are you talking about the elf on the shelf? Yeah. I don't know. I never really got into that. I was into the Rudolph thing and, the Santa thing or stuff like that, but maybe the snowman. Oh, one year we did life-size gingerbread men. And what I had the kids do was I got some of the craft paper. What is it? The brown paper you can get from the dollar store or whatever. And I laid it out, taped it down to the floor, and then we did like an outline of the kids, but then we made it look like a gingerbread man. And then we decorated the walls with each of the gingerbread. They were able to color them and decorate them and fix them all up, and then we put them on the wall, and then on Christmas they could take them home and put them in their room. And that was so much fun. Deborah says, I have one parent that is honest with their child so they don't buy into the Santa thing. Yeah, a lot of people do. I mean, I think there's a way to approach it without lying to the child. I mean, this is my perspective. Without lying to the child and still having them not feel left out of the whole thing. Santa's supposed to be a feel-good character, right? He's supposed to be someone who's giving and cares about the kids. And I think that, I totally can understand and respect that parent and what their beliefs are. And I've run across that myself. I think my sons have even said that. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Deborah says she liked the gingerbread man. Yeah, the gingerbread child. It was so much fun. It really just was. Yeah. Okay. So let's get into these questions. I know I've rambled a little bit, but let me know what you think about the Elf on the Shelf in the comments or in the chat as well. All right. So the first question is, it says, "Hey, good morning, Adrienne. Got a burning question for the next Q&A show. Enrollment blues here. I snagged a closed daycare in a childcare desert back in May. The previous owner changed careers, but the place used to be a real hit. I've got staff ready to roll. Tours have been happening for about a month now, and I just got my license 2 weeks back. The snag, only a couple of kids have enrolled. Tours are a thing, but not leading to signups. I'm getting daily inquiries, but no takers. I'm on Facebook, got signs up and posters all around. What more can I do? Here's the kicker. My staff is bailing because of the lack of hours, and I can't keep paying them with no kids around. Funds are running low, and I'm seriously stressed. Locals swore I'd fill up in no time after buying it. Any magic tricks to get kids in pronto? I'm thinking of hosting some date nights and fun and kid fun days in December. Got any more genius ideas? Help a fellow out. I'm freaking out here." Okay. So first of all, what would you do? By the way, well, I'll come back. Yeah. What would you do? This provider just took over this business. She just got her license 2 weeks ago. She's been doing tours and a couple of enrollments she's gotten out of the tours, but obviously she hasn't gotten a lot of enrollments, and she can't keep paying her staff. She doesn't have the money to do that or the funds to do that. She says funds are running low and the staff is starting to leave. Any magic tricks? Okay, well, first of all, let me say something. Last week, I posted in the groups a link to an article I wrote several years ago. And the article was Black Friday for Childcare. Black Friday for Childcare. And every year I post it, and people read the headline and they assume that the article, without reading it, is about childcare providers working on Black Friday. That is not what the post is about at all. It actually, if you read the post, it is about getting an offer up for Black Friday for either your clients or potential clients, and doing what a lot of other businesses do on Black Friday, is have these amazing offers once a year to bring in business, to bring in customers or an influx of cash into their business. Okay, several different ideas. I think I went over them last week. I'm gonna, after Thanksgiving, my head's a blur. I can't even remember what happened last week. But a lot of or a few of the ideas that were given in that post would be perfect for this person here. She's saying that she's thinking about doing date nights and fun kid days. This is a perfect time of season to do things like that. Maybe a shopping day. I think Denitra Scott has brought that up here. It's also in that post. Maybe a Christmas shopping day. So the parents can drop their kids off for, I don't know, you set the time, 2-4 hours, I don't know, whatever. So they can go do their shopping without their children, and then you get the business for one. It also brings awareness to your business. Maybe they can tell their families and friends that you exist, and if they need to go shopping, hey, this is something that they could do too. But also, it brings it shines a light on the business itself, so that now you've got everybody talking about your services for the shopping day, but they're also aware of the fact that you have a childcare in their community now. So maybe one of those holiday clients would be looking for childcare after the holidays. Now you've got it in. They know about your business. You've talked to them. So think about doing something specific like that. We have in the Thriving Childcare Shop, there's a binder kit, and I'll put a link to it here and in the show notes. In the show notes later. But to set up an open house. Okay, now you might need to plan that out a little bit, but with the childcare center like she has, that might be a very good thing to do, where you can have crafts for the kids. You can have a bulk tour. In the binder kit, it talks about how, and there's a post that I wrote on this as well, how when there's a crowd, just like in any other place, like when you go to Costco or something and you see a crowd over in the corner, you are drawn to go see what the big deal is about. Okay, well, giving bulk tours might get people to get off the fence if they're thinking about enrolling, because they're looking at some of the other potential clients that you might have that might be enrolling, and there might not be a spot for them. So consider doing something like those two things. I would, first of all, sit down and figure out a marketing strategy and plan for this month and all of 2024. Okay, if at least the first quarter, okay, and then the rest of the year, because this is something you're always going to have to do, whether you have a center or whether you have a home-based business. You're going to have clients that come and go. You're going to have a need for, to find new clients a lot, all the time, really. So this is something that you should be doing for your business, so you don't put so much pressure on whether a client decides to exit or withdraw, or you have to terminate them. There's a lot of things that you can do ongoing that will put your business in a better position to be successful, to not have the stress of not having the funds that you need to cover your expenses, to pay your employees, to pay yourself, to make this sustainable, to make your business sustainable. But what do you guys say? Bulk tours, Denisha Scott says bulk tours absolutely work. Just make sure your environment is pristine. Absolutely. You want to make sure that you're putting your best, I'm trying to keep my laptop from going to sleep. You're putting your best foot forward. So that's what I'm saying. A group tour or a open house maybe is going to need a little bit more planning, but start planning it out. Maybe that's something you want to do in January. Okay. Do some holiday specific things. You've got a few weekends here, and there's one weekend right before, let me make sure I'm not telling a fib here, but I believe, yeah, Okay, so December, yeah. So there is that last weekend before Christmas is the 23rd and 24th. Maybe think about on the 23rd. I don't know if you want to do this on Christmas Eve, but the day before, or maybe a day during that week before the 23rd, the 17th through the 23rd. Think about having multiple shopping nights, multiple shopping days. People tend to be off work this time of the year, so you might get, and you know what? Think about going to other businesses in your community and letting them know that you're having these events, so that they can inform their customers that this is going on. And like I said, this is a really good thing to call attention to your business as a whole, not just for this particular event, although it could give a good cash injection right now. And that's what that post was about. And let me just say this, I usually don't get upset about people, coming for me in the comments when it comes to things like that. But listen, just like I said earlier, if this doesn't work for you, don't do it. Okay? You can scroll. You do not have to do anything you don't want to do in your business. This is just for those people out there that are looking for ideas, like this provider who's looking for ideas to help them with a specific issue. A lot of times when you get into these situations, you can't think clearly because you're stressed. And so look at this content, listen, and if it works for you, or if it's something you want to try it. If it goes against all your principles in life, then don't do it. But I will say this, for those that, because like I said in the post, it was maybe give a special deal. One of the suggestions was to maybe give a yearly deal. Come up with a figure that works for you, that is not going to bankrupt you, and offer that. Not everyone is going to be able to take advantage of that, obviously. But you never know. Somebody might. Some grandparent might want to take advantage and pay for the child's tuition for the whole year. You mean to tell me you can't give a deal for that? And like I said, it doesn't have to be for a year. It could be for 3 months. It could be for a month. My point is, if you are looking to fill enrollment like this provider, then you must have spots open. And if you have spots open that are not bringing you in any money, why would you not then think of something that could bring in a client, even if it's at a reduced rate for a short period of time, or whatever you decide, that would make that spot a paying spot, as opposed to no money? Now, if you are full and you don't have any spots, then you're probably not asking this question, and you don't even need to be in this feed. But if you have spots to fill, figure out a strategy to fill those spots. And like I said, you don't have to offer some crazy rate that is going to bankrupt you. You don't have to offer it forever. You can offer it for a week. It's up to you. But if it's going to help you build your clientele, if it's going to fill your enrollment spots, I really want to encourage you to come up with a strategy that would work for you moving forward. And then you can change it too. You know what I mean? I changed a lot of things about my business over the years, and no way does it even resemble the business that I first started. But you have to be open to trying new things, right? We all know the saying that, doing the same thing and expecting different results is the definition of insanity, because it is. So think about doing different things. Now let me see what's in the comments. Denisha said, tell them. I'm just telling you, for your owning your business good, right? Sometimes we can get so entrenched in the way that we do things, we don't even want to hear how it could be done differently. And that's not helpful to our business, especially if we already know something's not working or it's barely working. You know what I mean? Think about, open your mind up, have an open mindset to trying new things. And I mean trying. You don't have to stick with it. You can change. It is your business. Like I've said several times in this episode, it is your business for you to do what you want to do with your business. But I would be foolish not to listen to somebody who is successful and is doing something a different way than the way I'm doing it if I'm not being successful. And that's for anything, right? That's for a recipe, that's for anything. You know, we have to remember that sometimes new things are good things. They can be time savers, they can be money makers, they can be money savers. So anyway, I ranted long enough on that question. But if you have any ideas for this provider who is trying to build their enrollment before their whole staff just bounces on them, please put it in the comments. Please put it in the chat. The last thing I'll say about this is one of the reasons why you do want to have that reserve, because this provider just opened, right? And you're already getting short on funds. And this is one of the reasons why, you know, in a business plan, they tell you to have what is it? Somebody help me. Is it like 12 months of cash reserve so that you don't find yourself in this situation? Because that can be very stressful to think that you might lose your staff and need to rehire when you do get those enrollments, and have to go through that whole process of finding new staff, new qualified staff, hiring them. Yeah, and it can also it can have, you know, a domino effect, right? Because you could have some clients that if they don't see that you're well staffed, then they won't enroll. So this is why you want to make sure you do have the funds to support the business for longer than 2 weeks when you open, if when you're talking about a center-based program. But yeah, so just put together a business plan, put together a marketing plan and figure out what you can do this month that will give you those cash injections, call attention to your program, and help you, you know, save the business before you go out of business. Okay, next question. Okay, it says, hey there. So I kicked off in April, and I've been lucky to have an awesome family on board since day one. That's great. But snagging more families that's been a bit of a journey. Right now, my superhero family is paying me triple to exclusively take care of their kiddo and keep things afloat. Now here's the head scratcher. Am I still in the daycare game, or have I crossed over into nanny territory? I'm still doing my thing from home, so what's the verdict? What are your thoughts? Type in the chat what you think. I don't know that the question... I'm so sorry. I think that would bark. The question she's asking is she still a daycare even though she's taking care of one family? I don't know that that's such the issue here. I mean, because it seems like you are trying to find other clients. I would ask you this, and hold on one second. Rooney! Sorry. You said that your current client is paying you triple to exclusively watch their child. Excuse me. So my first question to you would be, are they going to be okay with you getting new clients? Do they have that understanding that you're trying to recruit new clients? And kudos for them for paying you a rate that keeps you open. Excuse me. But it's kind of like the question before. Put together a marketing plan and start make a list of different ideas that you can do that will help you market your business. Okay, so we just talked about different events that you can have. Go into the mommy groups on Facebook. I would say the local mommy groups. And I wouldn't go in there and post my business information right away. Just start answering some questions. Just, you might want to introduce yourself, but I wouldn't jump into right away, I'm a childcare provider in this area and please come sign up. I wouldn't do that. I would jump in, when you can, and answer a question that a new mom might have, or somebody who is having an issue with their current childcare situation. Just be helpful in those groups, and you'll start to see them ask more questions about you. Make sure you have your own Facebook page set up for your business, where you can go in there and talk about the different things that you do, the different services that you provide. Let's see. There's so many different things that we don't think of right away, but start thinking out of the box, different things that you can do. Maybe you want to have a day during this holiday season where you read holiday stories to the children, and invite the neighborhood to come and partake in that, right? Maybe you charge a small fee for that, or maybe you just have them come so they, can see what you have to offer, to see your space. But start thinking out of the box. Start thinking about what your community needs are, and that's another reason, a good reason to be in those mommy groups too. You start to see what the needs are of your specific community, and then you can start to address those needs with your business, right? So maybe, and I've alluded to this for a while, and I still haven't done it, but I'm going to be doing or highlighting different business models that I've seen different childcares have. And, the boutique model is something that I've talked to Erica Sikosia about, I've talked to Denitra Scott about, and I just, up in the Bay, my daughter moved up to the Bay last year, San Francisco. I'm in California, by the way. There was a provider up there who has a half-day program. She doesn't start until, I want to say 8 o'clock in the morning is when the kids are dropped off. They go home before nap time, so I think it was like around noon or 1 o'clock, something like that. I probably don't have the times right, and before I write the piece, I will make sure that I get the times right, just in case somebody wants to model a program like that. And she's closed on Friday. And you would think, and I've talked about that here before on the show, that you would think that she wouldn't have any clients having a structure like that, a business structured like that. Well, she does. She's full. Okay? And what it is the needs in her community are different. The demographics are different, and the needs in her community where that program works. It works for her. It works for her clients. It works for her community. And that's the sweet spot. If you can find a service that works for you and the people that you serve, the best service, you will be full. But it's figuring that out. And going into those mommy groups, you can kind of take the temperature of what people are talking about, what their needs are. You can pose a question. What would be your ideal childcare situation? Okay? Again, without promoting your business hard or anything in the group. Go in there and start asking some questions yourself. Start a conversation. Get that feedback that you need to your business to reflect. And you will be successful. let me go to the comments because I don't want to rant too long. Deborah Hurley says, I'm not sure what state everyone is in, but in New York it's tough. Yeah. And she said, here's my take lately. Market rates are high, so let's see, DSS market rates are high, so it helps for DSS families, but it's unattainable prices for families that are not on assistance, but most of us cannot survive financially on rates that are lower than market rate. This is deterring families from sending kids to family childcare providers. This is why I think we cannot get kids in care. I want to charge lower for kids not on assistance so people can afford it, but that is considered fraud, I'm told. Yeah, what she means is she obviously has subsidized kids, and tell me if I'm wrong, Deborah, but subsidized kids, and the rate that you charge the subsidized kids, you can't charge the private pay more than that, because then they'll say you have two separate tuition rates. Yeah, she's right. And unfortunately, she said, oh, I got it right. And unfortunately, when the universal preschool situation is not really helping the situation either. And so here's the thing, like I was just talking about, looking at different business structures. Something that I coach on and tell other providers is to look at your business on an annual basis and determine what's working, what isn't working, what's changed, what needs to be changed in my business because of that. So when she's saying that it's hard in where she is in New York, and she said, yeah, UPK is buying into it as well. There was another provider that I talked about on the show that she totally changed her business model. As a matter of fact, she was the reason why I thought about, I've been thinking about writing this piece on different business models. She completely abandoned the infant toddler model, and went toward, because of UPK and how it was affecting her area and her business, she changed to before and after school care. She charges the same. That's what she said. She charges the same rate as she was before. So she's making the same or more money. She's completely full. The same or more money. And she has the middle of her day completely for herself. I mean, she could go and work another job if she wanted to, or go work at another daycare if she wanted to. But all of us might need to be looking at our business structure and seeing if we're going to have to make some changes to make it sustainable. Now, you might not have to do something as drastic as what she did, completely give up that infant toddler program, but you might need to add that service, that the before and after school, and figure out how to maybe do something that would sustain your business. And maybe that's an additional service. Maybe it's a complete overhaul of your business model. Yeah, and Deborah says she's thought about that. Some get around that by saying parents that pay in advance get a discount. You know what, Deborah? That is something, I've talked about this on the show several times. I've talked about my tuition issue early on, and it wasn't that I didn't have the clients, and it wasn't even the amount that I was charging them that was the issue. It was the fact that they did not pay on time. And I had to get that under control. And I won't give you the whole story all over again. But one of the strategies that I put in place was to offer to my clients the monthly option, the monthly tuition option. And for those who opted for that, they got a 3% discount. Now, I'm going to get pushback from the providers who say, I'm already charging too little, I can't afford a discount. Here's the thing. When you take the weeks of the year and break it down like that, and I have a whole tuition worksheet that helps you do this because I didn't get it right at first. Don't look at the month. Look at all the weeks in the year and then go backwards like that and figure out what the monthly rate is. The 3% was giving me the same amount. All right? Because it's averaged over the whole year. And let me just say, I was happy to do that because I didn't have to chase them anymore. The amount of gas and time that I was spending going back and forth to the bank with late payments, it was offering that 3% was, I was more than welcome to do that, to avoid doing that. So that's what I mean with so many things in our business. It's not always good to become entrenched in the way you do something. You might want to consider making some changes if it makes sense, right? And looking at other businesses, other childcare businesses, and seeing how they run. And that's why I want to highlight these different business models. But I have spent a lot of time on that one, so let me move on because we're gonna run long, I think. I'm sorry, guys. I started late and I'm running long. I'm a mess today. Okay. The next question, by the way, what do you think about that last question about whether that person is still a daycare or a nanny? I guess I would say, well, you're sort of a nanny because you're watching one child, but everybody is that way when they first start. You typically just have one family, maybe two. I was blessed; I had two families when I started, but it's kind of always like that. That's not really the big deal. Decide if you are going to take on new families. Make sure that's okay with the family that you're taking care of now. And like I said, I think that's awesome that they are paying you what you need to keep yourself afloat right now, so that you can have the time to get in your ideal clients. Okay. Let's see what somebody else said. Deborah says it depends on her long-term goal. Yeah, she's talking about this provider. Yeah, absolutely. The fact that she says she's looking for other families, or she has been, and that's been a journey, makes me believe that she wants other clients. And how long is this client going to pay you triple? I mean, they might pay you triple the whole time their child's there, but then what are you going to do? So she needs to figure out what her plan is. And I say this to a lot of my clients. You know, a lot of us don't think we need a business plan. And it's true. We don't necessarily need a formal business plan for our business, our childcare business, especially if you're in the home base. But you do need a plan. You do need to know what you're working towards so you can get there. Okay? Because it's kind of like going without a map, without GPS, without a map, and trying to get someplace. If you don't know where you're going, then how do you expect to get there? Or it's going to take you much, much longer, right? You do need a plan. How many clients do you want? Never mind what your license says. How many clients do you want? How many clients, what rate do you need to charge to make this thing successful, to make this sustainable without you going bankrupt? You know, we need to figure those things out. It's best if you figure them out ahead of time, but you can always stop right now where you are and figure out, okay, I need to figure this thing out. And I need to figure out what I need to make, and that needs to dictate what my rates are. And I need to figure out if, considering my demographics, like Deborah was saying, can I get that clientele? Or maybe I need to change my business model so that I can get more clientele. I'll tell you, it was years and years ago, but I had one client, and she had a job at night as well, and I didn't offer overnight care. And believe it or not, there was only one and I live in a big suburban area, and there was only one, and it was like two or three communities over that offered the hours that she needed. Look into that. Is there a need for off-hour care? That's another thing you can pose in those groups and try and figure out what, I'll say it again, what the needs are in your community, because it's just like any other business. If you can find out what somebody needs and offer that, of course you're going to have success. But if we are off the mark, it's going to be harder. It's going to be harder. Or if we're offering something that's saturated, it's going to be harder. But it's not impossible. I'll tell you this, and I'm going to move on to the next question, because I did say it went too long. When I started my business, or where I moved to my business to at one point, there were 13 child cares within a 3-block radius of my business. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to have to outshine. And so when people would come for tours, I provided information that I didn't think that they would be getting at other tours. I talked about the developmental stages of the child. I talked about what my program had to offer. I talked about why it would be a good fit for them and their child. I talked about I talked about it with confidence. And I said I wanted them to come to me last, because I wanted them to see my program and the benefits of my program, and I've already compared it to other programs. But you can do it. You can do it. You do have to do just what Denitra Scott was saying before. Make sure it's pristine. Make sure you're showing it in the best light. Maybe that means having your tours at different times. I changed that. I played around with that. I had it when the kids were here. I had it when the kids were not here. Obviously, during COVID, that changed a lot of things. But you figure these things out about your business. And if you do that first, then you can set a plan in place to make sure that your business is successful. Okay? So I'm going to stop because I've been on that too long. Okay. So next question. Hey there. So just over a year into running my place, and bam, got hit with the first case of RSV. It's a whole new ball game for me. Wondering how long should the kiddo be out. Here's the scoop I got. 8 to 10 days, depending on how the little one is feeling. They say they're mostly contagious for the first 7 days. Some might still be a bit catchy for a few weeks, according to public health. Had my first ever case with siblings, and luckily it's pretty mild. Kept them out until the coughing was mostly gone. So it was an 8-day hiatus, and they hopped back on the 9th day. I usually hit up the public health for anything contagious to get their opinion, then make the call, because the doctors can sometimes be too quick to send kids back. You know how it goes. Better to be cautious. Thoughts in advance. Thanks a bunch. Okay. First of all, have any of you had cases of RSV in your child care, either this season or previous seasons? I can't remember having RSV in my child care, but just in general with the contagious diseases, this is where your sick and illness policy is your superhero, because and this is why it needs to be strict. It does, because if there's any wiggle room, parents, we understand they have to go to work. We get that. But especially in a home-based program, you're bringing these things into your home, where your family is, where you are, and it can affect the care and the health of not only your family, the other kids that you care for, yourself, your staff. It can affect a lot of different things. So I would say in this case, and in most cases, the stricter the better, because then you can start from there, from a really strong position on sick and illness. When it comes to RSV, I would say to check with your licensing to see what, because I don't know specifics. I don't want to speak out of turn here. Check with them. check with the CDC. You can go on their websites if you can't call these organizations. See what their, look up RSV and see what the recommendations are. Okay, so that way, even if a family comes in with a doctor's note, if it doesn't align with those recommendations from the health department or the CDC, you can still stand on your policy, stand on what you know to be the best course of action. Okay, because little kids don't always practice. We know this. They don't always practice covering and making sure that they're not in somebody's face when they're coughing, or passing food, hands, touching, all this kind of stuff. This is the reason why we're constantly washing hands. We're constantly using hand sanitizer and so forth. So when it comes to contagious things, RSV, pink eye, go to your sick and illness policy and make sure it's beefed up. Make sure it specifically says what you need it to say. Okay, you can say, put a line in, say that it's the discretion of the provider, and based upon excuse me, the illness is a case by case. You can put that there. And I've said this before on the show too. It's ironic because when you have these tours with parents, they're all too happy to hear about your strict sick and illness policy until it affects them. But you do need to stand strong. Like I said, it can affect a lot more than just their child. It can affect everybody else in care, everybody else who comes in contact. And I'll say this because in anticipation of this question, I remembered back when I had this one little girl, and poor baby, she was allergic to everything. She had a weakened immune system. It was just it was scary almost. You know what I mean? And I had this one family that was very lax about their child's illness and so forth. And their child was a little boy, and he had a cold. It wasn't that serious, but it was a cold. And he came to care, but this little girl caught whatever he had, and she wound up in the hospital. And I used that to beef up my sick and illness policy even more, because you don't know what someone else's body, how they're going to process whatever this illness is, whatever these germs are. You don't know how another child or another person, an elderly person or somebody who has a weakened immune system like this child, you don't know how it's going to affect their body. So it might be little or nothing to you and yours, but it might be a big deal to somebody else. So now you're going to have to be strict. You're going to have to enforce, and it's not always going to be nice, but lean on the fact that you are providing quality care, and that means a healthy environment for all the children in care. And you can also point out that if you get sick, then the child care is going to be closed anyway. So, but has anybody had RSV? Let's see, Deborah said, parents get salty when you have to exclude their child for any amount of time, especially when they are contagious. Absolutely. I get it. But you know what they didn't get? Their child is going to get sick. I think I've said this story here on the show, but I actually had a mom say something. I was saying something about, I think it was at the tour early on, about the sick and illness policy that I had. And she said, they can get sick? And I was like, yeah, they can get sick. She was talking about children in general, or babies. I'm like, yeah. So I say that story to say that, as you can tell, not everyone thinks this through when they have a child. But I can tell you, as a mom and as a grandmother, Kids get sick. Okay? And you need to, the parents need to have a plan in place. I mean, what? They're never going to get sick the entire time that they're in childcare or in school? Of course they are. And the school is going to do the same thing that you would need to do, is to call the parent and say, okay, little Johnny is sick. He's throwing up. He's got diarrhea, whatever. You need to come pick him up. And they need to handle that. And that's the way it is. And I understand that they have a job. I understand. I was in that same situation. I still had to take care of my children. And that's what they have to do. So you're not going to get the warm and feelies when you have to call a parent and say, you've got to come pick up your sick child. I mean, I actually had a mom, Deborah, you're not going to believe this. I had a mom, I called and told her child was sick. She knew her child was sick. They will give, sometimes, not everybody, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to make it out like everybody does this, but they will give them Tylenol before they come. And this child was sick at home before they came. I called and said, okay, the child's sick. I can't remember the symptoms. The child is sick. I need you to come pick him up. She said, I am about to go into a meeting. I can't do that right now. I'm like, excuse me? Yes, you can. You can get somebody to do that. So, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but gird up your loins. You're going to have to deal with this. So, to this question, call and see what the current recommendations are with the CDC and the health department. Call the licensing and see if they have any recommendations when it comes to RSV. There might be a pin or a protocol that they can give you, that you can post, that you can put in your newsletter, that you can let your clients know that this is the course of action if your child gets RSV. That would be the best thing to do, I would say, to preempt the occurrence and say, hey, listen, if your child gets RSV, just so you know, this is what we do here at the Childcare to make sure everybody stays safe and healthy. Okay? Oh, Deborah said that happened to me too. She said, the meeting excuse. Yeah. I'm sorry. You had a meeting today. You had a child before the meeting. Come pick up your child. Or send somebody to come pick them up. Okay. I said it's giveaway time. It is giveaway time. And this week, we're back to the giveaway that everyone can get. You don't have to enter for this. We are giving away the Holiday Provider Planner. And I know the holidays are already here, but you can use this planner to help you write out your thank you notes for the lovely gifts that your families are going to give you. You can help use it to write out your list if you buy the kids' gifts or the parents' gifts or whatever. You can use it for your family. You can use it for so many things. There's so many things in this planner that are going to help you in the next month. Friday is December 1st, so we are here, y'all. So get this. It's I will put a link in the show notes. I am so sorry. Like I said, I was running a bit late this morning. I'll put a link in the show notes where you can go over and get the holiday planner. It is a download. You can go over and download it today and start using it today and the rest of December. Okay? All right. Let me see. I know we've gone long. Let me see if there's any other questions. Okay. One more question. And then I promise I will let you go. And I won't rant too long with this one. Okay. It says, hey, Adrienne, quick one for you. Do providers actually pull tuition straight from parents' banks regularly? I remember someone mentioning it's a requirement for their for automatic payments. But how on earth does that work? Any insights would be awesome. Thanks a bunch. You know what? I did a post quite a while ago, on offering different payment methods. And the reason why I wrote that was someone had said it was a different business, whatever. The saying was, make it easy for them to pay you. Okay? Because so many times, like I've said to you, you know, I had that tuition issue with my clients early on. And I thought about it and I was like, okay, let me figure out some different ways, because I was getting and raise your hand if you've heard this. Oh, I ran out of checks. Oh, I'm so sorry. I can't pay you today. I ran out of checks. Of course, that's on Friday. is when they realize they ran out of checks. But who uses checks anymore? Okay? Listen, guys. Most people use the payment apps, or they use credit cards or whatever. But if you are like this provider and you want to set up autopay or require autopay or offer it as another option for receiving your tuition, then what you can do is you can probably go online and look for the specific directions for this. And if I find it, I might write a post about how to set that up. But you can tell them to set it up with their bank, to have the tuition amount sent directly to your account. You can do that with Zelle. But give them the specific instructions on how to do that. And it can be a general thing. You can also, and I'm going to be doing a training on this, you can also have a QR code that you can post near your sign-in sheet, or you can put it up on tuition day, or however you want to do it. You can put it in your enrollment packet. You can put it on your website. You can put it in a lot of places. And I'm going to get into that into the training. I'll let you know when that's available. But you can have a QR code that takes them directly to a payment like Cash App or your Zelle, or your, and have the payment go through that way. Excuse me. Several different ways to set this up. Very easy for either them to do it or for you to give them instructions how you want it set up. Think about checking with your bank to see how long it takes to process that. It might not be, I think most of them are almost immediate, but check and make sure, and then that may be will help you to decide where you want the money to go. But I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a really good thing to offer people options. And when I started offering options like that, when somebody said they didn't have a check, I said, oh, you know what? Here's the good news. You can pay me this way. That way you don't incur a late fee. And when I did that, I look like I'm trying to help them. I am trying to help them. I'm trying to help them, but I'm also trying to make sure that I don't get in that situation again where I'm chasing payments and I'm remembering on Monday who didn't pay me on Friday, and I have to remember at the door before they run out the door and run to work and they still haven't paid me. No. Here's another way we can get this done today. So I would encourage you to think about, just like this provider, different creative ways that you can make sure that you get your tuition in on time. And if that means using some of these other methods, what's the harm? We already talked about doing different things. New things can be better, right? Okay, I promised I wouldn't go on. And there's another question, but I will save it till next week because I really have already gone too long. And let me know what you guys, what do you use for how you receive tuition in your program? Go ahead and put it in the chat, put it in the comments. Let me know. How do you, or what are some of the different methods? Do you only use cash? Do you only use checks? What do you do to receive tuition in your program? Okay? All right. That is it for the questions this week. Thanks so much. Thank you to Deborah. Thank you to Denitra. Thank you to, oh gosh, I can't even scroll to her name. Thank you for those who joined me live here today. I appreciate it, and I love interacting and talking with you. I really do. Remember, if you have a question and you can't join me live, you can submit it early. Just go to Thriving Childcare / what's your question, and you can leave it for the show next week, and I'll answer it on the show, or I'll answer it directly. But yeah, go to thrivingchildcare.com / what's your question, and you can leave your question early there. Let's see. I will come back and put the link in where you can go over and get the Holiday Provider Planner, so you can use that starting today because the holidays are here. And thank you guys so much for supporting this show. I love it. I love doing it, and I hope you will come back. My name is Adrienne Bradley, and I'm your host for the Daycare Q&A Show, and I can't wait to continue this journey with you next week. But until then, keep thriving. Talk to you soon. Hey, thanks for joining me today. And listen, if you're vibing with the Daycare Q&A Show, guess what? You're in for an absolute treat when you dive into the Not Just for New Providers Club. You're going to love all of the courses, resources, and support you'll find inside our membership just for childcare owners. Our courses, workshops, resources, and services are designed to help you create the thriving childcare business you dream of without all of the overwhelm of feeling like you're on this childcare journey alone. It's like our secret hangout for all of us amazing childcare enthusiasts. And I'm your enthusiastic guide. Forget about those never-ending, mind-boggling mega module trainings or programs that leave you feeling like you've just run a marathon without any real direction. We're all about keeping it simple and steering clear of those overwhelming processes. Instead, we're here to help you set up actionable business systems that practically run on autopilot, giving you more time to binge watch your favorite TV shows or maybe just catch up on some well-deserved sleep. As an extra bonus, you'll also get instant access to our childcare template subscription, our ever-growing template library designed to make running your business smoother than a baby's bottom. Curious? Well, here's the best part. You can test the waters with our $7 one-week trial. Click the link in the comments and grab your trial membership today. Let's dive into childcare awesomeness together. I'll be waiting to high five you on the inside. See you there.